From the rugged shore and woodlands of the north, its history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fisheries. To the farmlands of the southern counties we'll look around again, and all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan. And sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, and the stillness of the forest lies encased in Arctic cold, the wind might whisper through the trees, listen if you can, it tells you of the beauty in this state of Michigan.
Hi there, come on in. It's our Christmas Eve show, almost Christmas Eve, and we have a special program. It's one that we postponed from last duck season. I wanted to show you a special feature. Dave Durrell is a hunter who 5 years ago got into a motorcycle accident, lost the use of his legs, but found that even with this disability, he had a great time duck hunting. So we'll go out duck hunting with him in just a moment. You stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost. It's Thursday night, time for Michigan Outdoors. Every fall, Harson's Island in northern Lake St. Clair attracts duck hunters to the waterfowl marshes managed by the Department of Natural Resources. Who hunts ducks? Well, lots of people, but you probably wouldn't expect to find a wheelchair user among these hunters.
I went hunting, the first duck hunting I went was when I was 14 and I'm 32 now. So that's, well, last 6 or 8 years mostly. Since I've been in a wheelchair, yeah. I went one time when I was 14 and then didn't go again until I started hunting after I was in a wheelchair.
Now, that happened at what age?
I was 17, hit a car on a motorcycle.
And you were on the motorcycle?
Yeah. That was
Dave Durrell from Detroit is an amazing guy. He lived through a broken back, and then he got into duck hunting. He drives a car, gets around on his own, and found that in October, before it gets too cold, he can even hunt ducks with his buddies.
Driving's real easy. It's I steer with my right hand, use a car with an automatic, and then you've got the hand control with the left hand, and you pull it down for the gas, push it forward for the brake. It comes real natural. In fact, it's pretty easy. Getting in and out of the car is harder than driving it is, and that's just a matter of pulling the wheelchair up behind the seats, shoving the seats back. You could drive a van or a wagon or whatever you want now, depending on what type of injury you had. Like I broke my back, and so my hands and upper body is pretty strong. I don't have any problems pulling the chair in or getting in and out of the car. If I had injured my neck or something, I might be using a van because it'd have a lift on it, make it easier to get in and out. You might not be able to pull a car in and out, although I do know some quads that pull their chairs in and out of the cars.
So you have to go duck hunting with a buddy.
I've been trying to figure out a way to go on my own. I'm thinking about getting a kayak and taking my chair right to the water's edge and just kind of crawling down with the waterproof clothes on. You know, it wouldn't really be any problem, but I haven't found a kayak yet that I liked or had the money to buy a kayak yet. That might be a little closer to the truth. Yeah, I usually go with a buddy or two, depending on what kind of weather. When it's wavy, 3 is kind of a lot for a canoe. 2 is the ideal amount, because then I can get all the decoys in and the dog and take our canoe chairs and be nice and comfortable. 3, you're just kind of cramped.
The effect of back injuries all too often result in paralysis of the legs. In our Outdoors Forever program, we find this from automobile and motorcycle accidents and from falls, a frightening number from tree stands while bow hunting. Safety and accident prevention is important, and that's a part of what Outdoors Forever does, but the main part is dealing with sportsmen after an accident. We don't want hunters and fishermen to drop out when all they need is a little help.
Just paddle away, and when you get to a dike or something, if I'm with one person, we struggle across it, and a lot of times, here especially, if you get there at the same time as somebody else, they see you're struggling with it. A lot of the people have seen me coming in the wheelchair, and they'll give us a hand and pull us over the dike, as you did. You know, it works out pretty well. Duck hunters are out here for one thing, and they're all pretty friendly.
When a handicapped sportsman has an attitude like Dave's, it makes it a real joy to give him a little help, and it really doesn't take any more effort than hunting normally does.
Well, this makes it fairly easy.
Rollers over the dikes. Who would think that that's all a handicapped hunter needs?
Now, you want a fast ride or a slow ride?
Fast or slow, doesn't matter.
Wait, well, should I get on the other side, maybe? Maybe. this thing. Okay. Make sure you're paddling when you hit the water. There we go. That wasn't bad at all.
Now you have to obviously come up a corn row or an area of the field where there's enough water to float.
Yes, yes, unless I've got a strong puller. And lately I've just been coming up the first row. I have to go the first row anyway to be able to see because I sit so low I can't stand up to shoot, and that's usually what you do. You stand up and you shoot.
Go ahead.
So you come in the first row and I'll knock them down or whatever I need to do when it's time to shoot.
You a good duck hunter?
I can hit them when they come straight in at me. I'm not very good at pass shooting, so I stick pretty much to shooting them over the decoys. I do pretty well over the decoys, when they come to the decoys.
What is your biggest problem outdoors, besides obviously moving around, standing up? Is it the cold?
Yeah, it would have to be the cold. My legs get really cold quickly, and although I haven't had any problem with frostbite or freezing or anything like that yet, they get cold enough so that when I go home and go to bed, when I lay down, the cool blood in my legs comes up and just freezes the rest of me. And it takes you a couple hours to thaw out.
So you can't feel anything in your legs and when you're getting cold?
No. I can physically feel down, touch my feet or touch my leg and say, geez, this is awfully cold.
Oh yeah, right here. Oh, that's yours, Dave. That's yours.
Oh, good one.
Dave's duck went down, and just because he couldn't jump out of the canoe and chase it wasn't a problem. I was happy to do it, and I often do it for other hunters anyway. But I really wasn't needed either. Dave's Labrador was thrilled to make her first retrieve of the season.
Oh,
Good
wow.
dog. Good dog.
Heart thumping.
Atta girl. Come on, Mags. Come on.
You shoot, Dave?
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I hit the mallard that you got, and I hit this one too. Atta girl. Okay, drop it. Atta girl. Good dog, Mags. Come on.
The joys of duck hunting don't know any physical boundaries. A paraplegic like Dave Durrell can enjoy the work of his retriever and the ducks winging into the sunset as much as any able-bodied hunter.
Get down here. Coming right at you.
Those of you who are championship duck callers might say, holy cow, that Dave Durrell needs a little help with his feed chuckle. Well, he might not win a contest, but let me tell you, his calling brought in the ducks.
Here we go. How about that? How about that?
Good shot, Brad. Atta girl. Atta girl.
All right.
Atta girl. Come on, Mags. Oh, good girl. Come on. Come on, Mag.
We've often said that with a little
Atta
help from
girl,
your
come on.
friends, you can hunt and
That's
fish,
the girl.
even if you have a disability that some people think would end your days in the field. We call our program Outdoors Forever. It's dedicated to keeping people like Dave Durrell participating outdoors for the rest of his life. Because to a hunter, missing these times in the marsh would be the most serious loss of all.
Rick Brokus of Allegan caught this Emmett County 5-pound 4-ounce smallmouth on a leadhead jig and plastic grub. Here's a Menominee whitefish, a pound even and 16 inches long, taken by Chelsea angler Steve Taylor at Manistee. Chugging a Bangalore on the St. Clair River was what Cecil Stackpole of Swartz Creek was doing when he picked off this 9-pound 4-ounce walleye. Bark River fisherman Bruce Johnson took this 10-pound 11-ounce channel cat on a crawler harness in Little Bay Denok. It's a 6x6 bull elk that lucky hunter Jerry Ackley of Charlotte tagged during the 1987 season. It weighed 575 pounds. Hey, you'd smile too if you'd just taken a 10-pointer on the 4th day of the gun deer season, and that's what Alpena resident Bud McClarty did in his home county in his 57th deer season. Now, even though he's taken a deer every year, it was 50 years ago since he took what he calls a decent one like this. Well, you know, he darn well might be the deer hunter of the century, but for now, let's make Bud McClarty of Alpena our Michigan Outdoors Trophy Deer Hunter of the Week.
It was 25 years ago this Christmas that I woke up and found under the Christmas tree my first gun, a .22 Remington bolt action repeater. If I live to be 100, I won't forget it. I'm not advocating that all kids should have guns, but I do know that even now, just a couple of days before Christmas, many of you are still thinking about Christmas guns for your kids. And just as important, a lot of kids are thinking about them. Obviously, the safety question and the youngster's maturity are the most important factors in the decision. That's the way it should be. But I think there's a factor that's just as important, and that's the parents' responsibility for getting their son or daughter out to learn about and to enjoy their guns. Parents need to make a commitment to take their kids shooting. Lots of paper, clay, and tin targets need to be shot at for the gun to be fully appreciated. Rabbit and squirrel seasons are long, and the kids that have taken hunter safety can get involved, but only with an adult. So ask yourself as a parent whether you're up to this responsibility. There's more to this Christmas gun than any other present, and no kid should get a Christmas present they can't use.
Here's a legal question posed by T.A. Brzezinski from Berkeley, Michigan. If I get a deer legally, tag it properly, and hang the deer on a meat pole, what rights do conservation officers have to search my property? It's been indicated to me that they can do anything they please without a search warrant. Well, no, they can't do anything, but if they do see evidence that you're hunting, you know, if you're wearing hunting clothes or toting a gun, they can ask to see your license and your game. Now, if they see deer on a buck pole on private property, they can check it to make sure it's tagged. And if they have a tip or see possible evidence of poaching, they can make a more detailed inspection, but not without evidence. Sharon Kirkpatrick, looks like Mark Martin got you out at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, he did.
How'd you like it?
Well, I was a little bored at first. I didn't think I was going to catch anything all night, you know, and then all of a sudden at 3 o'clock, boom.
Do you snooze a little bit?
No,
You didn't?
no, not at all. I just kept thinking I wasn't going to get anything. I kept, maybe I'm missing my hits, you know, and all of a sudden, 3 o'clock.
Have you fished much in your life?
Yeah, probably about, well, last 5 years quite a bit with my husband.
Is this your first time fishing at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, it was. Uh-huh.
How'd you like it?
It was...
What were you thinking, honestly, at about 5 till 3?
Oh, I was getting tired. Yeah, I was starting to get kind of tired, but it was beautiful out that night. It was my husband's birthday, too. And I got the fish.
Big one? Well, congratulations. That's a 9.5-pounder, 29.5 inches. You did very well. Sharon Kirkpatrick from Dearborn. Ronald Cummings from Midland caught a fish which I wonder if you knew what it was when you got it aboard.
I'd heard of them. I'd never seen one. I'd never caught one. We were fishing perch that day. We were north of the Charities. We'd heard of this one spot that was about 2 sides of the football field out in the middle of the lake out there. And I found it. And when it showed up on my graph, well, I slowed down and we started looking for the perch. Took me about 3 minutes to find them. It looked just like an umbrella down there. Dropped anchor, backed up, and we sat there for 4.5 hours and fished. I had a 5-gallon bucket of perch. And in between catching the perch, I kept catching these burbot, and they were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'd never caught one before, and I caught 8 that day. Three of them actually qualified for the Master Anglers Award, the largest one being over 8 pounds.
Do they fight a lot?
The first one I hooked onto felt like I had my anchor because I was using a perch rod, and it wouldn't move. And I kept just singing and singing, and, you know, it wouldn't come, it wouldn't come, it wouldn't come up. And finally, why, then it started coming up. They do put on a good fight, but they're uglier than sin.
Ken Rosenstangel from Saginaw was also fishing pink salmon, a 24.5 incher, 5 pounds 6 ounces. Were you fishing for pink salmon?
Yep.
And you were fishing the Carp River up in Mackinac County.
Yep.
How long you been fishing?
9 years. I'm 10.
Oh, yeah, so you started when you were 1.
Yep.
What was the first fish you caught?
I think it was a perch.
That's kind of hard to remember back when you were 1, huh?
Yeah.
How old were you when you caught your first one?
1.
Were you? Where's your folks? Oh, I know. You drove here. Yeah. I'd believe it. Ken Rosenstangel, you got a pink salmon. What was it like catching that pink?
Heavy.
Heavy?
Yep. It was a piece of cake to get in.
Yeah. Somehow I had a feeling you'd say something like that. Dave Pennell from Davison. He got the big brown trout. Come on up here, Dave. You got this on a Dodger and a fly. A typical brown trout story here, trolling August, though. I bet you were going for salmon.
Salmon fishing, right? My buddy, he'd been at me for 3-4 years. I'm a perch fisherman, not for salmon. And he said, come on up. So my daughter was home from Italy. She said, let's go fishing, Dad. So I called him up. I said, you got an opening time? Yeah. So we went up. Waves about 6-7 foot high out there that morning. He said, if I'd been up there, he wouldn't have went out. It was really rough. And he marked 3 times. And he said, we're going to make one more pass. And when he said one more pass, that's when he hit. It's the first one we got that morning. Then we got 4 salmon besides.
Now, you being a veteran perch fisherman, what was it like to catch this one?
Oh, it was altogether different. It was about 15-20 minute battle with him. But we finally got him in, and I didn't know nothing about it. He radioed in. We got in there, and there must have been 75, 80 people there waiting to see it. And they said it was the largest one they'd got in that area in quite a while.
Well, way to go, Dave Pennell. Bob Marshall from Detroit.
It was early in the morning, and my fishing partner, he was kind of teasing me because we was out about 2 hours, and he had caught 3 fish to my none on a Zara spook. And he was teasing me about my corporate worm. I had a 10-inch corporate worm, and I was determined to get some. I just felt good that morning. So when I finally did hit it, it went in some real thick underbrush. And when I finally got him out, my partner, he was pulling the weeds away. And when we saw him, I almost passed out, really. You know.
An 8-pound largemouth.
Yeah, but the whole killing part about it at the end, when I finally did clear the weeds away, when we saw it, my partner would tell me, go ahead, get it with your hand. You know, I usually use a net. And I reached in and grabbed at him, and it was about 4 feet of water, and I fell over with it.
Right over the side of the boat?
Yeah, yeah.
But did you have your hand on the fish then?
I had my hand in his mouth, all in his mouth. Yeah, yeah.
So don't tell me your partner netted you both.
No, I got out. My partner laughed. Yeah.
And you came up with the fish. You know, he must have put up a little bit of battle on the end of your hand, didn't he, or not?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, but I had him. I was determined. I had him because I was afraid, too, just like going under. You know, you got to hold on to anything you had. The only thing I had was my hand in his mouth.
How long can a beaver remain underwater? Well, beavers can submerge for up to 15 minutes at a time. Valves in their ears and nostrils close to keep out water. Well-furred lips close behind the large incisor teeth, allowing a beaver to cut and peel branches underwater without swallowing water.
Gail Brandt from Potterville won our fish division of our cooking contest last March with salmon lasagna. Kathy Beitler, watching you put this together right now, I think is going to change a lot of people's mind about their preconceived notions.
Oh, salmon lasagna doesn't sound that good, but it's actually like a tuna noodle casserole. And that's what makes it is a pesto sauce. And pesto sauce is basil and garlic and parsley. Now, you can buy pesto sauce now, which really makes it nice.
In that little package.
In a package. And then you can go ahead and saute your onions and celery, and your pesto sauce goes in there, too. And you don't want to cook that thoroughly. You want to leave it just half crisp. Go ahead and put in your salmon.
Is that cooked salmon, canned salmon?
No, just canned salmon, and it's not cooked, pre-cooked. And
oh, like the kind you could get in the grocery store?
Yes, exactly, right off the shelf. And then we're going to mix your cheeses together. We've got mozzarella cheese and Monterey Jack, which you really can't tell the difference here, but it is 2 different kinds of cheeses in 2 different textures. You go ahead and put that in with your salmon mixture. And it also has cream cheese in it. And then you mix your ricotta cheese and cottage cheese, which actually is everything that goes into a lasagna.
Now that that looks good right
there.
It
yeah,
does.
it'd be good just like that
Has the
itself.
onions and celery and all that stuff in it?
And then you're going to go ahead and just make your layers just like you do with regular lasagna.
But no tomatoes and no hamburger.
No.
Not
and then
lasagna in that
sprinkle
sense.
Parmesan cheese on the top, and then it goes into the oven for an hour.
Well, Gail Brandt did a knockout job in our cooking contest, but I wonder how Bob Garner will like the way you cook this, Kathy.
The plate in just a couple of minutes here is going to be as clean as a hound's tooth. She did an excellent job. This is really a delightful dish. It's like the real expensive seafood pastas you might get in a fantastic restaurant. This is really delightful stuff.
I think the pesto sauce really adds to this.
I don't know all these seafood pastas in those fancy restaurants, and I don't know this pesto sauce business. I haven't really had those kind of things. Reminds me, get this, of chicken enchiladas a little bit that aren't spicy.
Yeah,
because there are onions in here, and the cheese and the cottage cheese. And I could, you know, I might make a change this year. Garner's always been the judge in the recipe contest. I'm thinking about making a big switch.
Uh-oh.
Having Bob ask the questions, I think I'll eat.
It's in my contract, buddy. You stay away from the food.
Okay. Oh, man, this is terrific.
It is. This is very, very good.
Okay, after you saw it, you wished you had written down the ingredients to tonight's recipe. Well, you're in luck. It's printed in a handy clip-out format in the November-December issue of the Outdoor Digest. So this weekend is a great time to get out just before Christmas. We're coming up with our Christmas salutation in just a moment. Next week we have coming up a year-end special. That's right, we're going to take week by week little clips of the features we've done throughout 1988. You're going to see an action-packed, exciting review of the year, I think in a real interesting way.
It's going to be a fun rundown. I'm going to make some predictions for 1989 in the conservation and hunting and fishing fields.
And we're going to have our recipe and all of our usual features, so you join us next week. And right now, the staff would like to say,
Merry Christmas!